world, and it's gone on far too long.
He asked me to talk about voter suppression in Randolph County. There's a long history of voter suppression in our county. Of course, it was brought to light recently, first part of August. But to just give you something, to tell you a little something about what has been going on in our community in around 1955, 1956, the Board of Registrars removed about 40 blacks from the voting list and were going to deny them the right to vote. A group of citizens got together and they filed a suit. ACLU at that time provided the attorney. The lead plaintiff on that suit was a teacher, black female, by the name of Miss Charlie Will Thornton. They chose her for a couple of reasons. Number one, she was an educator. She taught in a little country school in Terrell County, even though she was from here. And they thought that by living outside of Randolph County, they wouldn't bother her job. So anyway, long story short, they filed the suit, and of course with the ACLU's help, they prevailed. Of course, what happened to Miss Charlie Will Thornton, they went to Terrell County and she lost her job. Secondly, they wouldn't hire her anywhere in the area. She had to work in Meriwether County for the rest of her tenure. But anyway, that was the Board of Registrars, and that was in 55, 56. The odd thing about it, I learned of that particular case when we were again being represented by the ACLU in the federal courts in Columbus on an issue where, again, the Board of Registrars tried to draw one of our elected officials out of his district without providing hearing. And again, the ACLU represented us, and again, the ACLU prevailed. So now, let's fast forward to August of this year, August the 8th to be precise. I was reading my newspaper, 2 weeklies, they're about 4 pages apiece. Doesn't take much to read. So I was sitting at my table reading the newspaper, and I always read the legal ads. I had my magnifying glass reading the legal ads. And I came across this ad that said, on August the 24th, that would be a meeting to determine whether to close 7 or to consolidate 7 of our 9 precincts into 2. So I read it a couple of times. I said, wait, this sounds funny. Anyway, there are 9 precincts spread out over the county, and the plan would have consolidated those 9 into 2 precincts, one here in Cuthbert and one in Shelburne. And of course, I don't have to tell you the makeup of this county. It's about 60% black. The poverty rate is about 32%, which is twice what the poverty rate is of the state. So closing those precincts immediately came to me that that would create a hardship on our people. And we had heard voter suppression, but I said, that looks like voter suppression to me. So we began making calls. I serve as chair of the local Democratic committee. I called my contact, Bobby Fuse, who's the 2nd Congressional District Chair of the Democratic Party of Georgia. And he made several calls, and I'm thankful that he had all of the contacts to make. We called the voter protection person at DPG, a person who represents the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under Law in Washington, D.C., ACLU. And with those few calls, it ignited and contacted a network of activists who were just waiting for something to happen like that in Randolph County. They came to our beckoning call. And of course, they had a couple of local meetings, and we were in the national spotlight for a period of about 3 weeks, I guess, from about August the 13th to August the 24th, and since and thereafter. The meetings were packed. We had 2 hearings. They had 2 hearings on it. And of course, TV coverage. We made Newsweek, Huffington Post, New York Times, several others, CNN, MSNBC, and all of that. And of course, and because of all of that, I was one of those who was asked to go sit in on the first day of hearings for the Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. So I did get to go to Washington and participate in that. But we're just thankful for all of the support that we had in fighting this issue, both locally, and of course, we can't thank enough all of those people from the various organizations. There were organizations out there that I did not know existed. And they show up at your door, or I get a call, this is so-and-so from that. And I was, oh yes, whatever, you come on, no problem. So we're just thankful, and it was just reassuring to know that even though it's sad that we still have to have those kinds of organizations out on the battle lines still in this day and time, but it's reassuring to know that there are a lot of organizations, that there are a lot of people just like the ones who are doing this, who are still fighting in their own special way. Different ones have different strategies, but we'll still have organizations that are on the front line that are still trying to protect a precious right, which is the right to vote. And of course, on August 24th, that was defeated. So our polls are open. All of our polling places are open. Also, on the other hand, though, during this process, we didn't realize that over 112-something polling places have been closed across the state. Didn't realize that they've closed them in surrounding counties near us in Webster County and Quitman County, Clay County, and also in Early County, Miller County, and that's just right around here with us. And they tried to tell us that it was because of money, but that was not the reason. The reason was very simple. And if you look nationwide, since the courts gutted the Voting Rights Act of 1965, a lot of those polling places have been closed. A lot of the other kinds of voter suppression activities have taken place. Because prior to them weakening the Voting Rights Act, those kinds of voting changes had to be pre-cleared with the Justice Department. But now that's no longer the case. All they have to do is whatever the local committee in charge of that, they can make that decision, and it's a done deal. So I would encourage all of you to remain vigilant in terms of looking out for what they're trying to do, because the struggle is real, and sadly, the struggle is not over. Thank you.
And it's gone on far too long, and we won't be